I'm Reverend Norman Fong, and I'm the Executive Director for Chinatown Community Development Center. We were created back in 1977 because of that eviction. Okay, if people don't know, here's the sheriff on horseback physically evicting the seniors that were living there. What people might not know or appreciate, we almost lost Chinatown. Financial district below Kearny was coming up with all these super high rises, and they kept coming up, and so they wanted to tear down the I Hotel. Actually, they did tear it down, but that's when we realized that Chinatown needed a housing corporation. So Chinatown CDC is a housing corporation. Our purpose in life, our mission in life is to protect Chinatown from gentrification. And gentrification is the key issue. So I grew up in Chinatown in the 50s. My mom and all my uncles grew up in Ross Alley, 1970. And like the I Hotel eviction, you got 30 days or go homeless. Where do you go? And it's not easy finding affordable housing. So Chinatown CDC and my personal life as well have experienced eviction in a way that got me to change my direction in life. And I actually lived at Cameron House too for many years when I worked there. So Chinatown CDC was created in 1977, and we promised to ourselves we would rebuild the International Hotel one day. Guess when we rebuilt it? 2005. So to protect Chinatown, to protect affordable housing for our seniors and families, we have to work really hard, and sometimes it's not easy to stop a developer, especially like the I Hotel. The guy that owned it was from Thailand. We had to even deal with international politics, you could say. We're dealing with pressure from new entities that realize that Chinatown has a whole bunch of SROs. What's an SRO? Single room occupancy hotel. Half of Chinatown are SROs. So we are the most densely populated area in this country, not because of high rises, but because there are single rooms. One of the biggest issues, and it's an economic issue, how do we force the government or force the people to make sure that there's subsidized funding, government funding for affordable housing? In San Francisco, you can make so much creating condos, right, or private homes and all that. Our mission is just affordable housing. We only do low-income housing. Cameron House and the church, who fought for new housing for families and seniors, Chinatown was ignored. We still get ignored. The issue of economic justice for our community is one that we've fought for since the beginning. There's been a fight for more CDCs, community development corporations like us. Chinatown Rising is about one particular struggle, but it was the first one that pulled everyone together. We had youth there, seniors joining with us, right? And every community organization throughout Chinatown banded together just to fight for that million-year project. They also fought to save the I Hotel. We also fought and recently won to take over the Ping Yun public house. Chinatown CDC now is almost finished rebuilding it. Why is that important? Because half of Chinatown are what? SROs. So you got families and seniors living in these single rooms, terrible bathrooms to share and kitchens. We want them to go into the Ping Yun, which is family housing. So we have to think on all fronts. How do you do that? You know, I got to Galileo, I got 8 youth there, president of the student body and a few others. I said, what do you hate about Chinatown? And so they decided to say alleyways. Adopt an Alleyway was created. I worked with Galileo students to grade each alleyway. The Adopt an Alleyway youth movement, which was born in 1991, started with Galileo students. Alleyways, you won't believe it. They were not covered by the city. They were not on the list of dedicated alleyways for cleaning. So no wonder Chinatown sucked. It was so bad because they didn't even pick up the mattresses, furnitures that were dumped in our alleyways. They didn't care about our streets. So we got the city to adopt our plan. Alleyways, housing, well, crime and safety is the hot one now, but we've had issues with that. And jobs. We got a lot of people to work in the hotels. We got the union, local 2, to accept more Asians into the hotel industry. I'm trying to squeeze between the financial district and Nob Hill, where all the big hotels are. The issue that's current that now is crime and safety. So we had a big Chinatown night out last night. We got to protect our seniors because seniors are being robbed more than, I don't know if you read the news, but it's happening there. People take advantage of our neighborhood. So homeless now that were in downtown pushed over to Chinatown. So some of them have been robbing our storefronts and even just stealing food items. I understand, but it's driving our economy. Our Chinatown economy is down 35% on tourism. It's that bad. People don't want to come because there's homelessness all over that. $90 rent back in the 50s and 60s. Some of our SROs are pretty cheap too. Now because of the market push, it's up to 1,000 or 1,500 even for some of these SROs.
After listening to all the stuff that you said, a question I have is, I can relate that law of demand and supply is it can be applied to like the housing in Chinatown.
Oh yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? And like, do you think there's any way that the community could ever solve that problem, or if it's going to be a constant problem?
It's a constant problem, but we have tried our best to push the city to include more funding. Fighting this year for the affordable housing bond, Proposition A. In order to get things done, we need citywide support to get more funding dedicated to building affordable housing. Earlier this year, we announced that there might be an opening in the wait list. 6,000 seniors all night long were waiting just to get an application to get on the waiting list, which already has thousands of people. So demand is heavy duty for Chinatown. There's a lot of reasons for that. A lot of the seniors want to be near Chinatown. All the medical services, it's not all over the city, and some of the other hospitals don't have Chinese-speaking doctors. What we're competing with are new populations. There are people that want to sell off living in Chinatown as an exotic place to live. We never had that problem before. The demand is there, but who gets in? So if you're an owner, your dad bought a place back in the 1930s or 40s. They wanted a piece of Chinatown, but you all know the history though. So there's high demand, not enough supplies. Affordable housing for sure. Affordable housing in San Francisco is becoming a scarcity. A lot of the middle class or higher can afford to pay more. So all the tech workers from Google, they're buying up the houses. The prices are going up. And so we have built a huge base of seniors who live in Chinatown, ready to fight back. Any eviction that happens in Chinatown or North Beach, you will see our seniors that are fighting. We got almost 2,000 dues-paying members. We have organized. Community organizing is part of the solution. We need the money, so that's why we've learned to organize around housing bonds. And Chinatown helped influence the direction of it. We have dedicated, I've got 250 million or whatever, to help seniors. Most seniors can't afford even some of the basic affordable housing because their fixed income or what they get from SSI or Medicare or Medi-Cal isn't enough to pay even some of the lower levels. So we added a deeper subsidy for seniors in there.
You mentioned buying buildings, owning them to make housing more affordable, and so that's a trade-off, right? Because you're preserving the community. The trade-off is that you guys don't get a lot of money back,
Right.
or not at all.
Well, so that's the problem. Housing people don't want to buy old buildings where you don't make money. We do it because we love the community. Economic problem for us. And rents. How do you keep rents low? The city has different standards of minimum that we need to collect for rent. The public housing is 577 units. We got federal money to subsidize. They subsidize 2/3 of the rent. And that's how we can make it work. Do you think Trump wants to increase HUD subsidies? No. We have 650 families living in a tiny room SRO in Chinatown that we work with. There's more throughout the city. A lot of funding is going towards the homeless. The problem is, so I was yelling at some of the people there, saying, what about Chinatown? They're living in SROs. Don't they count? Legally, it's called an SRO, single room. That means only one person living in it. But we have families. I've seen up to 9 people. It's ridiculous. We are uniquely suffering from a high density because of the housing stock. We need the city, state, and federal government to address our unique housing problem. At Chinatown, CDC decided that we would rezone Chinatown. So in 1986, we actually rezoned it to fight for short buildings, keep our neighborhood, so that the office people won't come in. There's height limits, right? So that kept them up. We also have a Chinatown zoning that says if you tear down any affordable housing, you have to rebuild it.
The same amount, or is
Yes,
it
at least.
at least the same?
So
Okay.
if you got height limits and affordability issues, we basically jammed up a gentrification for Chinatown because of,
They can't come in.
right.
Yeah.
A few other places, the owners want us to buy the building. Actually, everyone calls us to buy the building if it's the right price. But one building has asbestos, lead. This is old buildings. All our buildings were built right after the earthquake. So most of our buildings are built in the 1908 and on. We built the first air rights project over a post office. It's so hard to work like with the post office and others to share that space. We built our newest buildings over the freeway site. So there was a Embarcadero Freeway, and the exit ramps came up Broadway to Chinatown. That's how people got to from Oakland. They drove right up. All right.
Wow.
So they tore down that freeway, and we said, well, since Chinatown suffered from an economic decline because we lost our lifeblood to the community, the freeway, we said at least we want to build housing on those empty sites. We have to be creative to build wherever we can. And now the citywide, the Chinese are everywhere now. So the demand is not just Chinatown now. So I'm glad Galileo is interested in Chinatown housing. Hooray! We need more geniuses to help us continue the struggle. We're going to keep the oldest Chinatown alive. And I've seen other Chinatowns now. And I've seen Chinatowns with a big gate and some restaurants, but no people living there. One thing we did the best was to fight our own way to save the people. Chinatown is the people. It's not a bunch of shops. Restaurants. High-class ones are for tourists. You need good, homegrown, small businesses as well, and good restaurants here. And so people fight over rents on a commercial level too, so it's not just housing. So we fought to save the oldest restaurant. It's called Samoa. Everyone should go there and eat. I don't care what the food tastes like. We need to have people love the culture. Our home community, it's our turf, man. So much history here. I'm glad you came by, and Galileo is a part of it. And I don't know how many young people want to stay in the community now. Do people want to go out? I've stayed. I promised my mom and dad I'd stay here all my life.
So thank you for your time, Norman.
All right.